Hi guys, welcome to Pole Shift News. Good morning. I'm over at Wikipedia and I'm looking at iron hydride, and there's a good reason for that. We're going to get onto it very shortly. What I'm trying to do is just look at in detail a little bit more of some of the things that's been mentioned in some of the reports. I'm going to show you the part in particular what I'm talking about, but the reason why we're looking at the compound iron hydrogen is because it's quite unique and it turns up in something that we've been looking at a lot of on this channel. So iron hydride is a chemical compound, as you can see, of iron and hydrogen with a chemical formula of FeH. It has been detected in isolation only in extreme environments like trapped in frozen noble gas and in the atmosphere of cool stars. And with that, I think we don't need to go into any more details, but the reason why I wanted to show you iron hydride is because it's talked about in this report, which I'm just going to quickly show you. So here we are on this article that was written by William Livingston and Matthew Penn. And what they say is we have observed spectropic changes in the temperature-sensitive molecular lines in the magnetic splitting of iron hydride and in the continuing brightness of over 1,000 sunspots umbria from 1990 to 2005. All three measurements show consistent trends in which the darkest parts of the sunspots umbria have become warmer by 45 degrees Kelvin per year, and their magnetic field strengths have decreased by 77 gauss per year independently of the normal 11-year sunspot cycle. A linear extrapolation of these trends suggests that few sunspots will be visible after 2005. You can see there's an interaction going on within the sunspot to do with iron hydride. We know that the sun is generating a lot of its fusion on hydrogen gas and helium gas eventually. But iron must be that component in the sunspot that is providing the magnetic ability for sunspots to form in a manner. But as we can see, that the temperature has become warmer, and as a result of that, the magnetic gauss has dropped. Now, 77 gauss per year is quite a large amount, considering the magnetic field strength of the Earth is equal to about 1 gauss. So the sun's losing in the umbrias of these sunspots 77 gauss per year, and it's no wonder to me that it is, because there's an actual change in the composition regarding the heat within the sunspot. Now, what is it that could be creating a situation in the sun's dynamo that would cause the increase in heat as it started to burn up all its hydrogen in the fusion process, in the process that gives us our warm star as it is today. Remember, back in the article I was just showing you that it's only found in dwarf stars, more common, or in the noble gases, iron hydride. So, I'm just digging a little bit deeper because I want to find out what is actually going on with our sun, because our sun is the main climate driver of our solar system, and when things change with our sun, then it's going to have an adverse effect on all the other planets, including ours, this Earth. And we already know that as a result of loss of sunspots, we have a weakened magnetosphere, and as a result of that, we get more cosmic radiation inbound in the solar system. When we've got a nice healthy sun and it's producing plentiful amounts of sunspots, we enjoy a warmer climate on the planet, and we also have a greater protection from the heliosphere, which is like that bubble that protects our solar system. If we just then put this aside, what's taking place on our sun, and then compare what's going on with our planets, we've got another problem, which is the magnetic reversal taking place, which weakens the magnetosphere of the Earth, which is our own shield, which protects us from harmful cosmic rays, not just from the sun, but outside of our solar system, that are inbound from the galaxy and the rest of the universe. But we know, as a result of more cosmic particles, we're going to get the cloud seeding effects caused by cosmic particles inbound, and as a result of that, it's going to change the climate on the surface of our Earth, as we're seeing now. Continents such as Morocco experiencing for the first time in 50 years snow, and we are seeing this a lot more. If you just look at the northern hemisphere, and yes, the Earth is at a position which commonly spoken as a tilt, but it doesn't swing over left to right. It's just in relationship to the way it goes round the sun annually. We are in a cooler region, naturally in any case, but these cooler regions are becoming more cooler as time goes on, and it's probably as a result of more cosmic radiation to do with that. So I think it's important to go over these things more and more so that we can understand them. If you remember, I've done an experiment with neodymium magnets, and we introduced them to a fire, and it lost completely all of its magnetic ability to hold its field strength once it was brought out the fire. So heating destroys the ability of magnetism, and this is exactly what William Livingston and Matthew Penn found in their report. When there was a heated increase by 45K, there was a decrease in magnetic strength by 77 Gauss. So, what is it that has created the situation then with our sun for it to lose its ability to hold lower temperatures so that it can hold greater magnetism within the umbrellas of these sunspots? This is something, we'll investigate a little bit further as time goes on this channel, because, we're not sure what causes this. Is it through supernovae at the centre of the superbulge in our galaxy exploding, and then over millions of light years, or thousands of light years, travelling outwards towards our position at the spiral arm of the galaxy where we sit? Is that extra radiation having an effect on our sun? Is that what's creating it to warm up? Well, there are, and some of you guys have shown me cycles of supernovae that have matched up with sunspot numbers going back, many thousands and thousands of years, which could be an indication then more solar radiation interfering with our Earth's and Sun's dynamo could then have an adverse effect on the temperature fluctuations on the umbrellas of the sunspots, and therefore, as a result of that, weakening the heliosphere. But then, what is the interaction, if that's the case, then with the Earth going through a magnetic reversal now? And there are this just raises lots and lots of questions. It's like a child, when you're on a long journey and you can hear this little voice coming in the background. Why is this? And then why is that? And you keep answering the next question, and then they want to know deeper and deeper. We've all been there, haven't we, guys? But it's natural, I think, to just want to get a bigger picture of what's going on, so that we're in understanding of what's actually happening on our planet and in our solar system. I think we should, occasionally look up to the skies, and I think this was a message of our ancestors many years ago, and ask these questions and ponder these thoughts. So for us, how this all affects us is down to an increase in cosmic rays and how they could see the clouds. So we can see interstellar rays hit the Earth's atmosphere, creating tiny electrical charged particles called ions. Water molecules in the air are attracted to these ions and clump together. Clumping causes the water vapor to condense into tiny vapors or cloud nuclei, and we in turn end up with widespread condensation, and that in turn causes clouds to form. So, when we have a lot more interstellar or cosmic rays, we then, as a knock-on effect, end up with more cloud formation. Now, there's an elephant in the room, guys. I'm just wondering how many of you are thinking about this, what it is. So let's go and have a look at it. So the white elephant, what I'm talking about in this room, and it just suddenly dawned on me that just before I'm about to say this, I could be the first person on YouTube actually about to introduce you to this exchange which is taking place on our planet. Yes, cosmic rays are adding cloud to our planet, but as a result of this region here, if we look at the total intensity of the magnetic field on the Earth, we have a very low region here where cloud sputtering has begun to take place. Now, if it was more widespread and a bigger problem, this could be responsible for stripping the entire atmosphere of our planet and then boiling all the water off the planet, as it did do exactly in the case of Mars. So how much is being added to the atmosphere and how much are we losing right now? And here's the big thing, guys. During a magnetic reversal, the magnetic field will drop very, very low. I'm not sure, as anyone else is, whether we lose the magnetic field completely and for a longer period of time. But the most important thing here is, for me, anyhow, because I've always been interested in the magnetic pole reversal, is for the fact that the last time was 780,000 years ago. Before that, regularly, around 200 to 350,000 years, the Earth went through a magnetic reversal. So this time we know there's been a delay of 500,000 years, 500,000 years before it decided to go through this reversal at the moment. Now, cosmic rays could be doing a good thing for us in keeping the Earth cool by blocking out the solar radiation. And the reason why I say that is because as a result of a cooler Earth, we will hold a stronger magnetic field. Now, I know the magnetic field prior to recent years, say the last 5 years, was moving quickly and quicker. But it's been getting cooler and cooler for the last 5 years, and the magnetic pole migration slowed down as a result of that. So we're in a point of time where anything could change right now. We're definitely rocking on a lot of things happening. The magnetic south anomaly, this region here, this blue region, could open up and get worse. As a result, we'll lose cloud through sputtering. If it continues the way it is now, we might add more atmospheric cloud as a result of what we're seeing already, a gradual weakening magnetosphere on the Earth and low solar yield productions with sunspots. So there's a lot taking place, and it could really go anyway from this point on. And for me, and I guess for you guys out there, that's why this topic is so interesting. Because, outside of our everyday lives, there is this. If we look further than just the clouds, there is this taking place. And it is strange that one of the rarest anomalies that's taking place in our time is almost going about untalked about. And that's why I say, there's probably less than 1% of the Earth's population at the moment, 7 billion, that are even aware of this. Sometimes I feel like a tiny, tiny man with a little voice shouting as loud as I can to the giants to get their attention. And it seems to no prevail. When we look at the subscribers on YouTube, we have increased, for whatever reason, over the last few weeks, a couple of hundred extra subscribers, but still we're at about 12,200 subscribers. And when you put this into context with these guys that play games, they have millions of subscribers. These rappers have millions of subscribers, so it just shows you where our focal attention is in this day and age, and how naively we go about our business. We definitely are hoodwinked, and we have blinkers on to really some of the things that could have some massive dramatic changes in our lives, in the coming years to come. And we are seeing these changes now. We're seeing, this one country here having snow. We're seeing South China Islands having snow, losing thousands of heads of cattle, hectares of, staple food that they're growing in these countries for themselves. And already, We have stock market brokers and investors and hedge funds, setting aside their conscience, putting it in a closet so that they can make money out of this anomaly that they are aware of, and they see it as an opportunity to exploit. And what for? Who are they exploiting really at the end of the day? Only themselves. You can have a garage full of currency of any kind, but when there is no bread to buy, there is no bread to buy. When there is no rice to buy, there is no rice to buy, regardless of whether you've got one of the most precious gemstones or whatever quantity of money you have in the bank. Somebody is not going to give over something that is life-sustaining for something as trivial as what we all invest our time in today, working so hard for, and that is money. If only we did things differently as a species on this planet, who knows where we would have been. I can see why the powerful people of the world over the years have chosen a monetary route, because nothing will develop a civilization such as ours to this point quicker than what money would. Look at the iPhone, for instance. It wants to produce a new one, Apple does, every single year to keep us all on the hook so that we can keep up with the Joneses in having it. Me, myself, I've got an iPhone 5S because it was cheap. It didn't cost me £1,000. I would like the latest iPhone 8 now, is it, or even greater, but this one works just as good for me. And I know a few people like myself that don't have to chase the trends. I don't have to have a Ferrari on the drive. So long as I've got a car that gets A to B, I know my partner is completely different to me on these things. But we're all different, aren't we? That's what I suppose makes us unique. So guys, I'm going to leave you here with this sobering chart that you can see the last 3 solar cycles have set a trend, which I think is going to continue until a time in the future which is unclear of when things will get back to normal, if they ever do. The writing, I think, is on the wall. We can see it for ourselves. We know what happens when sunspots drop off. As a result, the cosmic rays are inbound, they cause more cloud, and we have cooling of the Earth's surface. So if you haven't already, have a look at the website. There's new information going up every week on it, so things are changing there. I still haven't managed to find that irradiance chart that I'm looking at, which I'm going to add. I want something that is updated regularly for you guys, so that you can see as time goes on, these changes are occurring, and it gives us something else just to monitor in these changing days. The cloud chamber that I'm building, I'm waiting for a few things to come in. I'll get the other camera out and I'll show you how we're getting on with that tomorrow. We're going to use an array of 8 Peltier elements. Those are the the bits of equipment that's going to be responsible for bringing the temperature down to around about minus 30 degrees Celsius, or better if we can get it. I've sorted out a nice twin CPU fan, which is going to cool the heat sink beneath the Peltier elements. I've ordered already the thermal grease, which we're going to use. We've got the alcohol, 100% concentrate, or as close as we're going to get. I think it's 99.9%. It's pure alcohol anyhow, which we'll need to create that alcohol vapor in there. And what else is there? The power source is undecided at this moment how much energy the Peltier elements, because we're going to use 8, it's quite a large configuration of Peltier elements, and they do consume quite a bit of energy. But I'm undecided what power elements to use, if not an array of them in the actual base unit that I've got. It's starting to look good. I'll have to show you tomorrow and go through it in a little bit more detail and explain what I'm going to do. And you get an idea as to the process of building these things, what's involved. You know what? I've had I've had a brilliant idea. It's using some slightly radioactive materials. I'm talking about the sorts you don't need permits to get hold of, but using them in a way which could produce energy in the future. And with one of the experiments I'm going to conduct and build one of these apparatus with, I'm going to show it, and I'm also going to test it on something, because if just bringing this into the vicinity of this equipment that I'm going to build, and we are already at the moment, I think we've got enough projects on the hand, so but I am very curious to see what will happen when we bring it in the vicinity of something else. I'm not talking about nuclear reactions, I'm just talking about the emitted radiation off of weak substances, and whether we can do something useful with that in order to produce a small amount of electricity. Because if we can use weak radioactive material that's not harmful, it could be easily blocked out by shielding of some sort, then why not us all convert over to that as a source of energy in the future? I'm talking about clean nuclear power for a home or a car or something else. But it's just a theory. But you know what? When I come across it, I thought, I like that. And what about if I added it to this? I know I'm being a bit cautious in what I'm talking about here, because what I don't want to do is, as I've done before many times in my life, is just talked about things and people have gone, I'll do it now, and then they've took the credit for it. So what I'd like to do is build it, show you guys if it works, or even if it doesn't, we can just say, it was worth the try, and you'll see why I wanted to try it in any case. So, guys, I'm going to leave this video here before it runs on forever and I take way too much of your time. I've enjoyed today doing this video for you guys, and I'm optimistic with all these things that we're covering on this channel. I think we're heading in a good direction. If you want to support the work and the research and the observatory, because we are an observatory on this channel, we're not just a YouTube channel anymore. We do have our own observatory, which is monitoring the heading of the magnetic North Pole. You ain't going to find another observatory at the moment, I don't think, boasting that fact. We're only interested in the magnetic heading of the North Pole, where it's going right now. It is still, in my view, heading towards Siberia, even if it is at a slow rate, but things could change with that. We're also monitoring the atmosphere, the magnetosphere strength, because during pole shifts these things weaken, and we know how important that is to have a healthy magnetosphere, because it protects us from cosmic rays and doesn't muck about so much with our climate on the Earth. So, guys, the link is down there if you want to help support some of the stuff we do on this channel. And I think you'll agree we're doing a little bit more than we ever have done there. The link is there. And as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, and bye for now.